Words shape desire in ways most people underestimate. Intimacy is not just a physical connection, it is an opening of the heart and mind where two people meet in their most vulnerable state. In those moments, words are not just sounds, they become imprints. A man may forget what you wore, the exact details of how the night unfolded, even the rhythm of your touch. But what he will never forget are the words you whispered when his guard was down. That is the power of language. It lingers long after the physical moment fades, carving itself into memory and emotion. When you choose words that affirm, that connect, that reach beyond the surface, you are not simply speaking. You are binding his heart to you in ways that are nearly impossible to undo. Think about the moments of deepest connection in life. They are rarely remembered for the actions alone, but almost always for the words that were shared. In intimacy, this truth becomes magnified. A man's body may respond to physical touch, but his soul responds to words. When you tell him what he means to you in that vulnerable state, when you whisper that he is your only one, when you make him feel not just desired but irreplaceable, you are planting seeds of loyalty that no one else can uproot. Desire is not about competition, it is about conviction. If your words carry conviction, they will echo in his heart long after the moment has ended, making him replay them again and again whenever temptation arises. Desire can be stirred by the surface, but it is sustained by depth. Anyone can spark attraction with looks or gestures, but words take it beyond the physical into the emotional and even the spiritual. The right words transform intimacy from something that passes into something that lasts. They take the moment out of the bedroom and into his memory, his identity, his sense of belonging. They turn passion into permanence. The reason is simple. Men, like women, long to feel chosen, long to feel they are enough, long to feel safe in the presence of someone who sees them fully. Words deliver that assurance more effectively than anything else. The power of words and desire is not about flattery or performance. It is not about rehearsed lines or empty phrases. It is about authenticity. It is about speaking what you truly feel in the moment without hesitation. When your words come from a place of truth, they carry weight, they carry heat, they carry energy that lingers. A man can sense when words are real, and when they are simply said to fill silence. What he holds on to are the real ones. If you want to bind his heart, speak with courage, speak with honesty, speak with intention, and let him hear that he matters in ways that go beyond the physical connection. Words shape the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we mean to others. In the same way, your words during intimacy become part of the story he tells himself about you. They become evidence in his mind that you are the one who understands him, who values him, who sees him in his entirety. When another woman comes along, she may be attractive, she may be interesting, but she cannot rewrite the story your words have already etched into his heart. She cannot compete with the voice he replays in his mind when he is reminded of what you said while he was at his most open and vulnerable. The power of words is that they travel further than touch. They last longer than pleasure. They enter the private chambers of his mind where no one else can intrude. If you choose them with intention, they will not just spark desire, they will shape it, direct it, and keep it anchored to you. And in a world filled with distractions and temptations, that is not just a gift, it is power. Power that is soft, invisible, and unforgettable, yet stronger than anything else you could give. Vulnerability creates loyalty because it strips away the masks and reveals the truth that performance can never deliver. In intimacy, many people are tempted to play a role, to act out what they think their partner wants, to present an image of perfection rather than their raw, unfiltered self. But the truth is, performance can entertain, performance can even excite for a moment, yet it cannot create lasting connection. What binds two people together in a way that cannot be undone is vulnerability. When you open yourself fully, when you allow him to see the parts of you that are unpolished, real, and deeply personal, you awaken something in him that no performance ever could. That something is loyalty. The kind of loyalty that comes from knowing he has been trusted with the rarest gift of all, your unguarded truth. Vulnerability is powerful because it is rare. Most of the world is filled with people wearing masks, projecting images, pretending to be stronger, happier, more confident, or more perfect than they really are. When you break through that and show him your truth, it shocks his soul into recognition. He realizes he is seeing something no one else is allowed to see. He feels chosen, not just for his presence, but for his worthiness to be trusted with what you keep hidden from others. That trust creates loyalty because it gives him a role he cannot walk away from. The role of being the one you turn to, the one you open to, the one who holds your heart without disguise. In moments of intimacy, vulnerability becomes even more potent. The physical closeness already lowers defenses, but when you add words and expressions that come from your truest self, the connection deepens beyond the body. When you tell him what you fear, what you hope, what you crave, what you cannot say to anyone else, he feels not just passion but purpose. He feels a responsibility to protect what you revealed, to honor the trust you have placed in him. That sense of responsibility strengthens his loyalty because he understands that your openness is not casual. It is sacred. Loyalty is not built on constant pleasure or constant performance. It is built on shared truths that cannot be forgotten. Vulnerability leaves an imprint because it stirs emotions far greater than attraction. It stirs compassion, empathy, and a deep need to care. A man may admire someone who is perfect, but he will never feel irreplaceably bonded to her, because perfection creates distance. What binds him is the moment you let down your walls and show him the raw parts of yourself, because in doing so you invite him to lower his own guard as well. Vulnerability is contagious. When you open, you give him permission to open. When you confess your truth, he finds courage to confess his. And when two people share truth at that level, the bond becomes unshakable. The fear of vulnerability is always the fear of rejection. What if he does not accept what I reveal? What if my truth is not enough? But the paradox is that holding back in fear creates distance, while opening up creates closeness. Even when your truth is messy, even when it is imperfect, it deepens the connection because it is real. Authenticity carries more weight than flawless performance ever could. If he sees your vulnerability and stays, if he hears your truth and leans closer, you have created a loyalty that cannot be shaken by time, by temptation, or by the illusions of perfection offered by someone else. Vulnerability binds because it transforms intimacy into something sacred. It shows him that he is not just a participant in a physical act, but the chosen keeper of your heart. It makes him feel trusted, honored, and irreplaceable. And once a man has felt that kind of significance, once he has been allowed into that sacred space, no performance from another woman can compare, no act of seduction can undo what has been built, because vulnerability has written itself into his loyalty, and loyalty born from truth is unbreakable. Affirmation fuels devotion because it touches one of the deepest needs of every human being, the desire to be seen, valued, and appreciated. A man may be strong on the outside, carrying himself with confidence, making decisions, and appearing as though he does not need validation from anyone, but beneath that surface he still longs for recognition. He still wants to feel that his efforts, his presence, his very being means something. When you give him that recognition in the most intimate of moments, it strikes deeper than at any other time. Words of genuine appreciation spoken when he is most vulnerable do not just make him feel good, they make him feel irreplaceable. And when a man feels irreplaceable, devotion is the natural response. Affirmation is not about empty flattery. It is not about saying what you think he wants to hear. It is about looking at him and truly noticing who he is, what he does, and what makes him unique, then speaking it aloud without hesitation. When you tell him that you love the way he makes you feel safe, when you whisper that you crave his touch, when you let him know that no one else could make you feel the way he does, those words go straight to his heart. They bypass his defenses and lodge themselves in his memory. Long after the moment passes, he replays them in his mind, using them as proof that he is wanted and chosen by you in a way no one else can replicate. Devotion is fueled by desire, but desire that lasts always rests on appreciation. Anyone can attract attention for a little while, but it is the person who consistently makes another feel valued that keeps the devotion alive. In intimacy, your affirmations become anchors. They remind him that he is not just a man to you. He is your man. He is not just someone passing through your life, but the one who holds a special and undeniable place. Those words of appreciation are like invisible threads that tie him to you, threads he does not want to break because they provide him with something rare emotional fulfillment. When you give genuine appreciation in those sacred moments, you awaken his devotion because you meet a need that no amount of external validation can satisfy. Out in the world, a man may hear compliments about his work, his achievements, or even his looks, but none of those affirmations compare to the ones that come from the woman he loves when she is closest to him. Your words carry a weight that no stranger's admiration ever could. They are intimate, they are personal, and they are tied to a moment where his heart is open. That is why they stay with him. That is why they make him loyal in ways that competition cannot touch. Affirmation also has the power to build confidence in him. When you tell him how much you appreciate who he is, he not only feels valued by you, he also begins to see himself in a stronger light. You become the voice that reminds him of his worth, and that voice is one he will return to again and again. He will crave it, not because he is insecure, but because you become the one who consistently feeds his soul with truth. That craving is devotion in its purest form. The desire not to wander elsewhere because he already has what he needs with you. The devotion that grows from affirmation is not shallow, it is rooted in emotional certainty. It tells him that he does not need to seek validation outside, that no one else can compete with the way you make him feel. When you choose to affirm him with honesty, when you choose to make him feel seen and cherished, you are not just speaking words. You are building loyalty, passion, and a bond that deepens every time you open your mouth to remind him how much he means to you. Authenticity beats perfection because what truly captures a man's heart is not a flawless act, but the courage to be real. Perfection is polished, controlled, and rehearsed, but it creates distance. It makes someone admirable from afar, but untouchable up close. Authenticity, however, invites closeness. It is in the unguarded laughter, the vulnerable words, the raw honesty spoken in moments of intimacy that a man feels something no script could ever provide. When his soul is most open, when his body and heart are vulnerable, it is not perfection that binds him. It is the imperfect truth of who you are, offered without fear, without performance, without needing to be more than what you are in that moment. The reason authenticity holds such power is because it signals trust. When you allow yourself to be unfiltered, when you speak your truth without editing it to sound better or smoother, you are telling him that you trust him enough to see the real you. That trust awakens loyalty in him. It makes him feel honored that you chose him as the one worthy of witnessing your genuine self. No matter how beautiful perfection might seem on the surface, it does not create the same bond. Because perfection feels like a show, while authenticity feels like intimacy. In moments of closeness, perfection is not only unnecessary, but also limiting. If you focus on being perfect, perfect movements, perfect timing, you lose the chance to connect deeply. A man does not remember the rehearsed lines, he remembers the truth that slipped from your lips when you were lost in the moment. He remembers the way your voice cracked when you confessed how much you needed him, the way your laughter spilled out unexpectedly, the way your words carried sincerity instead of polish. Those are the things that linger, the things that carve themselves into his memory. Authenticity is magnetic because it cannot be faked. It is raw, sometimes messy, but always real. When you tell him what you feel in the moment without trying to make it sound more attractive, you give him something no one else can compete with. The truth of your heart. And truth is rare in a world where so many people are performing, pretending, or hiding behind masks. That rarity makes authenticity unforgettable. It makes him return to you in his mind again and again because he knows that what you gave him was real. Perfection may impress for a short time, but authenticity creates permanence. A man might be entertained by someone who always says the right things, but he will be devoted to the one who speaks with honesty, even if the words are clumsy or unpolished. He may admire beauty and flawless performance, but admiration fades when it is not tied to depth. Authenticity, on the other hand, creates depth instantly because it comes from the soul rather than the surface. When you speak your truth while his soul is open, you reach him in a way no perfect line ever could. You are not just touching his body, you are leaving an imprint on his spirit. The beauty of authenticity is that it turns imperfection into intimacy. Your flaws, your unfiltered emotions, your unpolished words, they do not push him away, they draw him closer, because they remind him that you are human, that you are real, and that you are offering him something honest. That honesty makes him feel safe, makes him feel seen, and makes him feel chosen in ways perfection never could. What binds him is not the act of being flawless, but the bravery of being real. And when you give him that truth in the moments where he is most open, you create a bond that no perfection can replace. Safety strengthens desire because no matter how strong or confident a man may appear, at the core he longs for a place where he feels secure, valued, and irreplaceable. In a world that constantly challenges his worth, questions his role, and tests his strength, intimacy becomes more than physical release. It becomes a refuge. When you use words that affirm his place in your heart, that tell him he is respected, that reassure him of his uniqueness, you give him the one thing he cannot find anywhere else, is safety and love. And safety is not the absence of passion. It is the foundation of it. When a man feels safe with you, desire deems loyalty anchors, and the thought of another woman loses its pull. Safety and intimacy is not about control, nor is it about pleasing him at the cost of yourself. It is about creating a space where his soul can rest, where he knows he does not need to prove himself, where he can let his guard down without fear of judgment or rejection. Men spend their lives wearing armor, putting on strength for the world, but in the arms of the woman they love, they want that armor to fall. Words are the key that unlock this release. When you tell him he is enough, when you let him know he matters, when you affirm that he is yours and no one could take his place, he feels a sense of belonging that strengthens his attachment to you. Desire is often mistaken for chaos, for fiery intensity that burns hot and wild, but lasting desire is built on stability. A man who feels respected and safe with you does not need to chase thrills elsewhere, because he already has the rare combination of passion and security. Your words become a sanctuary for him. They echo in his mind when he is apart from you, reminding him that with you he is not only wanted but also safe. And safety, far from dulling desire, makes it grow because he can give more of himself when fear is absent. The irreplaceability you communicate through your words is what keeps his loyalty unshakable. Any woman can spark his interest, but only one can make him feel like the center of a universe. When you whisper that no one could ever be him, when you show that his presence is not just appreciated but essential, you feed the deepest need of his heart, the need to be significant. That significance binds him to you, because it convinces him that walking away would not just mean losing a partner, it would mean losing the only place he has ever truly belonged. Safety also strengthens desire because it fuels vulnerability. When he feels respected and secure, he reveals more of himself, both emotionally and physically. He trusts you with his fears, his dreams, his weaknesses, and in doing so, he binds himself more tightly to you. Desire in this context is not shallow. It becomes layered, rich, and enduring. He no longer seeks temporary pleasure because he has found something far more valuable, the love where his soul and body are both embraced. When you use your words with intention, words that respect him, words that make him feel chosen, words that assure him of his irreplaceable place, you are not just shaping how he feels in the moment, you are shaping how he sees you in his life. He does not compare you to anyone else because there is no comparison. Others may offer excitement or novelty, but none can compete with the safety and significance he experiences with you. That is why safety is not the opposite of passion. It is what makes passion sustainable. It is what makes desire stronger with time rather than weaker, and it is what ensures that once he feels it with you, he will never feel the need to search for it anywhere else.